Alright, so right now we're in part, I don't know, is it part 3? I think part 3. Part 3 of the process. So, next thing we need to do is basically this process known as CTR transfer. Now this is one of the key process, and if you don't do it right, you might fuck yourself up. But, don't worry about it. So right now, we're in CTR transfer, and the files we're going to be needing is this. And how you download it is going to be by torrent. This is a torrent link, but don't worry, they have seeds, so you should be downloading it just fine. I'm not going to show you the process because it's going to take a while to download. It's about 700 megabytes, but I'm sure you guys can do it. So basically, you pick the console region that your console is belonging to. For us, we're going to pick Japan because we're using Japanese console. If you're using a European console or Australian 3DS, you might want to pick Europe. And if you're using NA version, you might pick USA, vice versa. So what you want to do is basically download that file, and inside that zip file, you will see two files called 2.1.0 for J or E or U, depending on what region you're on or what region you downloaded, and then CTR transfer underscore 3DS blah blah blah. It doesn't matter if you're using a 2DS or old 3DS because it's meant for any other console. And what you want to do with these two files after you unzip it is open up the Files 9 folder inside your SD card and copy these two files into there. And at the same time, if you notice, we got two new files inside our Files 9 folder. They're nanmin.bin. Now, you do not want to touch these files. These are your key precious files. They are what remain of your basic firmware before you even done any funny stuff to it. So if any shit happens, you need these to recover. But at the same time, in order to install Luma 3DS, we will need it to recover regardless. So yeah, just keep it in there for the moment. I'm using a 4GB card that came with the DS, so it should be just fine as long as you don't put random crap in it. So we should have enough space to do this cracking process. So we're just waiting for this to transfer to complete. So like I mentioned before, that's also the reason why I suggest getting a USB 3.0 card reader, because it just makes your life a lot more easier. So once that's complete, what you want to do is basically again eject your card, and we'll go back to decrypt. Back to here again, what we want to do is basically insert your SD cards again, and then press B to return. And what you want to do here is basically again go back to SysNAND options and click on CTR NAND transfer. In here, you want to select auto CTR NAND transfer. And you'll see this red stuff going like, oh my god, it's gonna write to your SysNAND, it's gonna overwrite important shit, blah blah blah. Well, fuck it, don't care. Just enter what it says in that combo. So in here for me, it's left up, right up, A. It's going to say A9LH not detected, checking firing or firmware. I can't really see because it's really dark here. And then just press A. It's going to ask us if we want to do a NAND backup. Now that's why I told you to do a min NAND backup just now. It saves a lot of time for us. So just we can just press B to skip that. And it basically starts doing its magic. And in here, vice versa, left up, right up A. Not detected. Choose the bin file, press B, skip the backup, and it starts doing its magic as well. Now what it's going to do, it's basically going to do a verification process to make sure the bin file's fine for us to do the CTR transfer. Then afterwards it will start doing the transfer. So it's going to go on double percentage, meaning it'll take quite a while. So at the meantime, just go maybe grind some coffee, do whatever you feel like doing, and come back like 10 or 15 minutes later. Make sure your 3DSs or 2DSs are charged. I'm being a complete idiot here, not charging that even though it's only on fucking 25%, but no fucks given, who cares? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna unplug this. I'm gonna plug it in here. just to make sure it doesn't run out of battery. CTR is completely done, but before we reboot, you want to press B, go back to the main menu. You'll see why in a sec. So you want to go back to the main menu, and you want to press select and eject your card. So with the SD cards out of the way, now you can press start to reboot. Now why did I suggest you to do this? Because if you actually leave your SD cards in there and you reboot, CTR has a tendency of bugging, and what it does is it doesn't reboot into anything and just leaves your screen black. And then you're like, oh my god, I think I broke my machine, but no, you actually didn't. You just basically like CTR's preventing because it's trying to read into the SD card, but there's nothing in the SD card really. So yeah, don't worry about it. So once we're inside the firmware again, as you can see right now we're in custom firmware. That's why everything is like distorted. We're in CTR at the moment, so that's not until we back stuff up, so don't worry about it. As you can see, everything's fine. So right now with our memory cards or SD cards, we have to go back to our computer and basically input the files we need for the last part. Okay, so right now we're back at the final step. This is the last step you need to do to basically put all the files in. This is going to be a messy step, so I'm just going to be here with you guys, don't worry about it. So right now, as you can see in the whole last part here for ARM9 loader hacks, basically it's installing Luma inside your frame, but it's really messy. So these are the files we're going to be needing. You're going to need aeskdb.bin, which you click on it, it's going to be a torrent link. FBI 2.4.2 injectables, click on it, it's going to be another torrent link. Data input, another torrent link. And then afterwards you scroll down here. Pretty much you need everything. Now I'm just going to make it a lot more easier for you guys. For the homebrew starter kit, it's exactly the same thing, so you can just ignore that part, like just don't even bother with that part. And then afterwards for FBI, you don't need to install that, I'll explain why later. For Hourglass 9 as well, we can pretty much omit that, just ignore it, like you don't need it. So with that out of the way, what you do is basically follow generally almost every step. I'll just guide you through here so you know what exactly is happening here. So when we put our SD card back in, and after you've downloaded all the files you need, open up your files 9 folder, and as you can see, the CTR transfer files, we no longer need them, so you can just delete these 2 items. Again, do not touch your fucking nanmin files because you will need them, and they're basically your safeties, so leave them in the SD card if I'm you. In here, you want to make a new folder for CIAs. I can't see. So you make a new folder called CIAs and you put it there for now. You want to delete your 3DS folder. To be honest, I still don't see what's the point of deleting it, but if it tells us to delete it, we might as well delete it in case it gets pissed off. Again, just throw the new 3DS folder, and basically it covers up everything, so just leave it in there. And then scroll down. You want to copy the contents of what you have downloaded just now. Save A9LH installer into the root of your SD card. So as you can see here, just copy these 4 files. Just ignore the 3DS folder. It'll make your life a lot more easier. So you put the 4 bin files, 3 bin 1 data file in there, and then after that open up your data input that you have downloaded, which was a torrent file. See the A9LH folder, just drag it and put it down the root. Close that once that's done, and then open up your release.7zip, which is supposed to be your ARM9 loader hacks. You should see 4 files there. Open up your A9LH folder, copy these files and throw them in there. Close that. Go back to your root menu again. Now, this step, open up your CIAs folder so you don't look as messy as usual. Open up your homebrew launcher that you have downloaded, a CIA file, and throw it into the CIA folder. Close that. Open up Luma Updater. Copy only the .cia file. Throw it into the folder. That's the two you need. Ignore the FBI CIA because I'll explain why later. Pretty much we're going to install FBI in a much easier step, so we can just omit that. Now what you want to do is you want to open up the Luma 3ds zip document, and what you want to copy is just the ARM9 loader hacks.bin file. Put it at the root, replace the file in the destination, close the zip, and then after that create a new folder. Now this new folder is going to be called Luma, and inside Luma we want to open another folder. It's going to be called payloads, and inside this is a step that we have instead of what they tell us to do. And I've seen a lot of guys done it outside as well, because I assume this is just the easiest step, so we'll be going with this step instead of the usual ones they tell us to do instead, which makes our life a lot more easier. So you want to go back to your decrypt9 WIP zip file you have downloaded a long time ago. Again, bring that decrypt9 WIP bin file, put it in there, and then in here you want to rename it. What you want to rename is, instead of what we called last time, you want to call it start underscore deck 9. See, start underscore deck 9, and you want to go back to the roots again. And for hourglass step, we just skip that. Copy the file you have downloaded, the AES key DB. Put it into your root file, your root folder, pretty much the most outside of it, whatever you call it. Let me see what else we haven't done. DSP dump that you have downloaded. Throw it inside 3ds folder, and then lastly open up your files9 folder, open up your FBI injectables .zip folder, throw in everything that's in there into the SD card, and we are good to go. Now we can eject the SD card and move on to the final step. We're on to our final step. Let's put the memory cards back in. Vice versa for here. And then what you want to do is you want to go to your browser. Wait, there's no browser app for this? Oh, there. Okay, I feel like a retard now. So you want to open up your internet browser. And while that's loading, you want to go next. Make sure you're connected to the internet. Click on URL, and you want to visit this 2xrsa.3ds.guide. I just realized it actually didn't enter any internet like wireless details to my router, that's why I couldn't connect to the internet. But once you enter in again 2xrsa.3ds.guide, go there, and what that does is it's going to load up arm11.bin. Now it may varies for different 3ds, some of them just like this one will glitch up but shows nothing at all, which I think, so this is a prime example of not showing up anything, because it happens for the new 3DSs. Sometimes they just glitch up and not show anything at all, but it still works. So what you do in situations like this is you press select, and what that does is it installs, and it's really fast, and after that you just press any buttons and it shuts down just like that. And what you want to do right here is I think you want to hold start, turn it on, and it's going to take you back here to Luma 3ds configuration. What you do is you want to enable the following options: auto boot sysnan, let's see, enable region, show NAND or user string, show GBA boot screen, and you press start. And what that does is it should show you an error, which is normal. All you have to do is press any button and it will shut down. And here we're gonna boot again, and this time you're gonna boot, hold start, and you press the power button. And what that does is it takes you back to decrypt 9 WIP. And here, what you want to do is go to system options. Now remember I told you to keep that NAND min file. Now you're gonna need it. You're gonna use system backup and restore, and you want to select restore with keep A9LH. Look, if you don't do that, you're gonna have to repeat the whole thing again. So do that. Just tells you all that crap. So you want to enter in the combo left up, right up, A. Tells you which file to select. So we have NAND min, which is the one we backed up. Press A again. It's gonna verify it, and then after that, it's gonna restore it. It's gonna take a while, so we just let it run for now. The camera ran out of battery, and I didn't know that as I was continuing doing my stuff on both of the DS's. So pretty much I lost some of the footage, but don't worry, I got another DS here, and I basically repeat the same thing until this step again. And now everything's ready to go. The whole sysNAND has been restored and AL9X kept. So what you want to do at this point is, instead of rebooting, you want to press B, go back to the main menu here, press B again, scroll down here to miscellaneous, press A, and as you can see there's a thing called health and safety inject, press A. And what that does is, if you remember, there's always this health and safety hazards fucking app icon inside your 3DS menu, and that's fucking useless. So what we're going to do is we're going to inject it and change it into an FBI injector. So it allows us to boot into FBI without having to go into homebrew and all that stuff, which makes our life a lot more easier. So you want to press left up, right up, A. It might vary by combo. Press A again. It will install the injection tool. And here you want to press B to return, and then press B again, and then you want to press start to reboot. And at this point we are technically almost done. Like, we are now in a custom firmware, but we need to bring our little custom firmware tools out. So what we're going to do is, as well, let me make this thing a bit smaller. Let me just unpack my stuff first. I don't even know what this frog thing's for anyways. So you want to do here is go back to your health and safety. As you can see, FBI has injected itself into it. So if you click A on it, it's going to take us to the FBI app. And here, what you want to do is scroll down to the bottom where it says update. Press A. You always want the latest edition of FBI. Once that's done, press any button. You want to scroll back up there, and we want to go on SD, go to our CIA's folder, and you want to install the Homebrew Launcher Loader plus Luma Updater. So click on that, install and delete CIA, and press yes. And what that does is, after it's finished installing the file, it will delete the installer file, so we don't need it anymore, and it makes our life easier. Luma Updater, vice versa. Yep. So with that done, go back to the main menu, press start, and quit FBI. Now we have two more items. First we have our updater for Luma. We got our Homebrew launcher, and last but not least, FBI launcher. So congratulations, now you're running on custom firmware Luma. And at this point, there's a lot more stuff you can do on custom firmware. For example, streaming your device wirelessly onto the screen, or for example, putting up patches on your DS-ROM, like uncensored patches and all that stuff. You know, we'll probably put up tutorial videos for that later. But at the moment, enjoy what you have. and I'll catch you guys later. But some of you might go like, oh, then what happened to the green 2DS and the 3DS, new 3DS? Like you said, you updated and you've finished cracking it, right? Well, I can show you right here. Here's one of the finished products which I did with, I've already done customization to it. So, might as well show you what you can do actually on a custom firmware. So if I lay it here and turn it on, and basically I've already been able to install random themes and all that stuff. I'm running on free store and all that stuff, but that stuff we'll save it for next time. And until then, I'll catch you guys later.